Do our best, and I think the fellas are ready, and they worked hard all week. It was a disappointment last week, but I think they're thinking about this game, and we're looking forward to a win.
NFL on CBS, the NFC Western standings. Atlanta tied 17-all, going into overtime against the Philadelphia Eagles. The Rams and the Buffalo Bills also in overtime, tied 7-7. Archie Manning, his New Orleans Saints, winless in 13 tries. A dramatic comeback attempt against the Minnesota Vikings 1 week ago. This touchdown pass to number 85, Henry Childs. The book on Henry, that comeback attempt just falling 3 points shy. The Saints lose to Minnesota a week ago, 23-20. Joe Montana, 3 touchdown tosses last week against the New England Patriots, has apparently won the starting quarterback job for Bill Walsh and the San Francisco 49ers. The rookie sensation, Earl Cooper, number 49, out of the backfield, his 4th touchdown catch right there. San Francisco and New Orleans live on CBS. Earl Cooper, 4 touchdown receptions, and he's rushed for 4, the most ever for a rookie running back. The New Orleans Saints and the San Francisco 49ers from a very windy Candlestick Park here in San Francisco, California. Hello again, everybody. I'm Jim Kelly. Welcome to Candlestick Park. My friend Jim Hill is alongside. We've got a dandy for you today. The San Francisco 49ers started out very quickly with 3 straight wins, and then they lost their 8 games in a row. They won their last 2, however. The New Orleans Saints, of course, are winless, but they are regrouping under Coach Dick Stanfill.
They certainly are, Jim. A lot of people are wondering, is this the week that the Saints will finally break into the win column? Well, the 49ers certainly don't hope so. And before today's ball game, I talked to Emmanuel Sanders and David Waymer about what this season has been like for them.
Honestly, it's been like a roller coaster. You know, we've been up, down, and like I said, there's been some low moments, and there's been some high moments. You know, we had some moral victory, but we haven't had, you know, the W that's really count in the NFL.
It's been a hair-raising experience, I'd say, coming from a place like Notre Dame where we won most of the time, and coming here and now we're 0-13. It's I guess quite a learning experience for a rookie to be involved in a situation like this. But things are going to eventually bounce our way. We're kind of waiting on the ball to bounce the right way.
Meanwhile,
waiting on the ball to bounce right here, Ray Wersching is kicked off for the San Francisco 49ers. The Saints in possession will start 1st and 10 from their own 33-yard line. On the reception for the New Orleans Saints, number 41, Jimmy Rogers, who will open up at halfback. So we'll take a look at Archie Manning and the New Orleans Saints as they try to regroup under Coach Dick Stanfill. Somewhat of a homecoming for him, too, Jim, as you mentioned at the top.
Here under Dick Nolan, who just got fired for the New Orleans Saints. He played here as a 49er. He was an outstanding offensive lineman during his pro career, and he certainly wants a victory this afternoon.
Archie Manning brings him out 1st down, 10 yards to go from the New Orleans Saints 33-yard line. Wes Chandler wide to the left side. Ike Harris out wide to the right side. Running backs are split. That's Jack Holmes, Jimmy Rogers. Jimmy Rogers gets the call. And the 49ers knife through defensively. And there on the tackle is number 57, Danny Bunce. There you take a look at that defensive front for the San Francisco 49ers. Archie Reese, number 78 in the middle. He's a good one. Lawrence Pillars, 75, strong upper body. First pass of the football game. Manning with a straight drop. Airs it out. Wes Chandler couldn't hang on. It would have been a San Francisco. It would have been a New Orleans 1st down. And it brings up 3rd down now for the still winless New Orleans Saints. Ray Rhodes, number 26, former New York Giant, in there on the left cornerback spot. The 7-year man from Tulsa defending, but Chandler, actually, Jimmy, that's a very catchable ball.
It certainly was. The ball should have been cut. One of the things that the Saints are going to have to be concerned about this afternoon, especially Archie Manning, he throws the ball sidearm, and so he's going to have to be aware of the wind factor, because when you throw it from the side like Archie does, the wind will have a tendency to pick it up and to carry it away.
3rd down situation now. Opening quarter. Game just underway. Saints first possession. Wide receivers left and right. Manning needs 12. Airs it out top, and very poorly thrown. Intended for Mike Harris, the 6-year man from Iowa State. Dwight Hicks, the 2nd-year man from Michigan, number 22, is the closest man to it. Now we've got a final in from Tampa Bay. Minnesota, Jimmy, after trailing 10-0, came back to upset the Buccaneers.
21-10, a big win for the Minnesota Vikings, and they're really going to put the pressure on the Detroit Lions now for that NFC Central Division Championship.
There are the stats on Russell Erxleben, set to kick it away. Saints fail to pick up a first down. Punting with the wind, gets a beautiful spiral. And San Francisco, wisely, just falling on the ball. That's number 80 for the San Francisco 49ers. Easton Ramson, a 50-yard punt, and it'll be the San Francisco 49ers opening up 1st and 10 from their own 20-yard line. Joe Montana at quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers. Cleveland had all they could handle and more for the New York Jets. Brian Sipe, a 4-yard touchdown pass, proved to be the difference. It was Cleveland 17 and the Jets 14, so Cleveland hangs on to that lead in the AFC West, or AFC Central, excuse me.
And what an outstanding job Sam Lutrigiano has been doing as a head coach of the Cleveland Browns. And Brian Sipe, week in and week out, is really proving that he is one of the outstanding quarterbacks in the National Football League.
All right, it'll be first down, 10 yards to go now on the 20-yard line for the San Francisco 49ers. Joe Montana comes into the game, 160 attempts, 102 completions, completing 63% of his passes. He has won the starting quarterback job from Steve DeBerg. As we mentioned at the top of the telecast, the 49ers, Jimmy, started off very quickly. They won their first 3 games, then they lost 8 in a row. They have come back strong. They shut out the New York Giants by a score of 12-0, and they upset the New England Patriots here a week ago.
I think the big difference in the 49er club the last couple of weeks is the fact that their defense has been playing extremely well, whereas when they went through that slump of losing 6 or 7 straight, and the defense had just bad performances.
Wide receivers left and right. Earl Cooper, number 49, the rookie running back from Rice. The ball goes off, however, to Andrew Elliott, number 35, the 8-year man from Northeast Missouri State, 6'10", 210. And Chuck Evans, number 59, the rookie, makes the tackle for the New Orleans Saints. Close to first down yardage. It'll be second down. Let's call it a short one. You look at the New Orleans Saints defensively. They had their hands full last week against the Minnesota Vikings. Would have been very easy for the Saints to fold, trailing 23-0, but they hung in there, came back in the second half, just calling a 3-point shot. From the I formation now, Montana, you can hear him barking the signals. And again, the give is Linville Elliott, and he bucks over the right side. Randy Cross opening up the blocking there, along with Keith Farnhorst, number 71. And it's a first down, the first down of the football game for San Francisco. Tommy Hart, number 53, and they're on the tackle.
One of the things that really surprises me, Jim, is the attitude of the members of the St. Paul club down on the field before today's contest. They were smiling, they were clapping their hands. They're very relaxed, and it's kind of amazing to see them have that kind of attitude, even though they're 0-13.
1st and 10, scoreless first quarter so far. The first possession of the ball game for San Francisco. Montana's first aerial. Incomplete, intended for Linville Elliott out of the left flat. I think he hurried that ball just a little bit.
He did just a little bit, and I think that's one of the things that Joe really has to realize is that he has to be able to time his passes. The win factor here this afternoon is really going to be something that both quarterbacks are going to have to be able to deal with.
All set to kick away now for the San Francisco 49ers. Their punter, Jim Miller, punting into the wind. And he gets away a towering kick. Wes Chandler signals for the fair catch, but looking up into the sun, decides to let it roll in. And the New Orleans Saints will operate 1st and 10 from their own 26-yard line. A 47-yard punt by Jim Miller. So we've got 12:36 left to go in quarter number 1. The Saints fail to move the ball on their first possession. Likewise, San Francisco. New Orleans ball when we come right back.
Excuse me. I'm not the same crazy coach who used to storm around the sidelines yelling at the officials. I've learned to relax, and I drink light beer from Miller. Do you know that Light's got 1/3 less calories than their regular beer? And listen to this. Light doesn't fill me up. Besides that, Light tastes fantastic. Oh, sure, there are a lot of other beers around, and you can drink any one you want. But let me tell you this.
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
As I was saying, I don't care what anybody else...
Well, looks like you lead a comfortable life.
I do okay.
Now, let me tell you something. You do better in comfortable clothes. Like Hager Magic Stretch.
Hey, a stretch waistband.
Special stretch woven fabric, too.
Nice.
And Hager has lots of great looks that won't squeeze your wallet. In Hager Magic Stretch, you'll feel as good as you look.
What could be better?
You couldn't ask for more than Hager, especially for the holidays.
A 27-yard field goal by Tim Mazzetti, the difference in that Atlanta game against the Philadelphia Eagles. So Philadelphia now drops another game. They've lost 2 games in a row. And Jimmy, they've opened up. Atlanta has a 2-game lead in the NFC West.
That's right, because Buffalo beat Los Angeles this afternoon 10-7.
Archie Manning electing to keep it on the ground, short yardage over the middle. Lawrence Pillars, 65, in there on the tackle, throwing Jimmy Rogers down. Pickup of 3. It'll bring up 2nd down and 7 now for New Orleans. We are scoreless in this ball game. There is the Buffalo win against the Los Angeles Rams in overtime. So again, the Atlanta Falcons, with that dramatic 2017 win against the Philadelphia Eagles, have opened up a 2-game lead in the NFC West. Archie Manning, a veteran from Mississippi. Wide receivers are left and right. Jimmy Rogers gets the call. Not much doing on the left side.
Jim, that's a perfect example of the type of defense that San Francisco has been playing lately. They've been playing real good defense. At that particular time, they made the ball carrier run laterally to the line of scrimmage a long time, which allowed the 49er defensive unit to get over there. Good sign of a good defensive unit. You have 4 or 5 defensive people around the ball carrier when he goes down.
3rd and 8. You saw the graphic there on the inept Saints, at least on 3rd down situations so far. Running backs are split. Chandler to the left side, Harris to the top of your screen to the right side. Niners are showing blitz, and they're coming. Manning underneath to Henry Childs, his tight end, who's got the first down up in the vicinity of the 38-yard line. And that is the first down of the ball game for the New Orleans Saints. Terry Totolo, number 50, the 5-year man from UCLA, in there in the tackle, along with Jim Stuckey, the rookie from Clemson, big number 79.
And a good job of picking up the blitz by the offensive lineman for the Saints. One of the things that the Saints really haven't done much this year, and that is throw to this man, Henry Childs. He is an outstanding tight end. If you get the ball to him enough times, he'll give you the big play.
Childs way down on the list. He is 8th on the New Orleans Saints team in receptions. That's just his 16th grab of the season for New Orleans. But a big one here in this ball game. He picks up the first down. Running backs are split, as are the wide receivers. And they go to the flea flicker. Ike Harris is open, and he overthrows him. Jack Holmes took the pitch back from Archie Manning and simply missed Ike Harris. He was covered on the play by Ricky Churchman, but Churchman actually played the down and out. And when Harris turned it up, he was open. But Jack Holmes just missed him.
Jim, I think this particular time of the year, especially for the Saints, they're winless. Everyone around the country is talking about them, making jokes about them. One of the things that Stanfield is going to have to do the last 3 games of the year is to try and make the game fun for these young men. And by that, put in plays just like we saw the flea flicker then, which will enable them to have a little fun out there.
Chandler wide to the left side, Harris to the top of your screen to the right side. Holmes and Rogers are the running back. Manning on 2nd and 10. Looks to Chandler. He's got the first down and more across midfield. Up in the vicinity of the 48-yard line of San Francisco, Charlie Johnson, number 44, the 2nd-year man from Grambling, in there on the coverage, but Chandler had him beaten. A 13-yard pass completion to Wes Chandler, and Charles Johnson, after making the stop on Wes Chandler, is down at the midfield stripe.
And Johnson's one of the young men that I'm sure that the Saints are really going to try and work on if he's able to come back, because he hasn't played that well this year.
So the Saints on the move have picked up 2 first downs. They've got it in San Francisco territory at the 48-yard line. 1st and 10 for Archie Manning and his 0-13 New Orleans Saints when we come right back.
Introducing the totally new Lynx from Lincoln Mercury. Lynx is not only the most fuel-efficient American-built wagon, Lynx is the first one with front-wheel drive and fully independent suspension. Starting today, the world belongs to an American car. Starting today, the world belongs to Lynx.
Here's another Radio Shack Christmas gift idea. Our exclusive Science Fair 150-in-1 electronic project kit, just $29.95. Learn electronics by building safe, solderless battery and solar radios, transmitters, computer circuits, electronic sound effects, even LED digital readouts. Give 150 gifts they'll enjoy long after Christmas. The Super Science Fair Kit, only at Radio Shack, your Christmas electronics store.
Next week, a Super Sports Saturday, the Giants battle the Redskins, followed by the Mixed Team Golf Classic and the Sports Spectacular with figure skating and the Great American Truck Race next Saturday on CBS Sports.
Jim Kelly and Jim Hill back with you from Candlestick Park here in San Francisco. The 49ers 5-8. The Saints are 0-13. New Orleans on the move and picked up 2 successive first downs. Chandler to the bottom of your screen. Ike Harris to the top. Running backs are Holmes and Rogers, and Manning with a straight drop. Look out. Ike Harris was open, and Manning missed him. Actually, Jimmy, number 52 for the 49ers had a shot at him. Bobby Leopold back in the backfield. Could have been about a 12-yard drop, but Manning did well just to get away and throw the ball.
Well, that particular time, the 49ers were in the 3-4 defense, and they blitzed Leopold from the weak side. And it's kind of strange to see Archie coming out passing the way that he is this early in the ball game. I think that's a good indication of what the Saints are going to try and do this afternoon, because the 49ers on defense haven't played that well against the pass this year.
Ike Harris has been open on 2 successive plays now. Jack Holmes missed him on a flea flicker. Manning missed him right there. It's 2nd down and 10, New Orleans. As this time Henry Childs comes out wide to the left side. 495. Normally he operates, of course, at the tight end. Underneath, Jimmy Rogers out of the backfield. And he's got another New Orleans first down. 3 in a row for the Saints. Terry Totolo on the tackle.
The offensive game plan so far for the Saints, Jim, I think is just really great, because they're catching the 49ers playing a zone defense. Archie is doing the right thing by throwing underneath the coverage over the linebackers in front of the secondary or in front of the linebackers, and he's been successful so far.
Jimmy Rogers came into the game, 22 catches, averaging about 7.5 yards. The last one was for 13 yards, and as we said, the 3rd straight New Orleans first down. This time Chandler to the bottom of your screen, Harris to the top. Holmes again and Rogers are split at running back. Manning's tendency has been to throw on first down. This time the draw play to Jimmy Rogers, a pickup of about 2.5, make it 3 yards before Archie Reese, the 3rd-year man from Clemson, wraps his big frame around him, 6'3" and 262. Keena Turner, the rookie from Purdue, number 58, helped out. Keena Turner, now there's a name for the San Francisco 49ers fan. They're very high on him, Jimmy.
They certainly are. They think that he is going to be an outstanding defensive ball player for them. He shows signs of being that already, because he's tough and he really goes to the ball.
2nd down, 7 yards to go for the New Orleans Saints. Wide to the left side this time comes Ike Harris. And Wes Chandler to the top of your screen. Split out wide right from the eye. Manning there it out again. Good protection, gives it the pump fake. He's got Ike Harris. Touchdown. A 33-yard scoring strike from Archie Manning to Ike Harris. We had mentioned, Jim, that Harris was getting open, that simply Manning and Holmes on the flea flicker had missed him. This time Manning with a pump fake threw the secondary and the coverage in and put it right on the money.
Well, I tell you, Ike has always been an outstanding receiver. The problem is the Saints just haven't been able to get the ball to him. And we talked earlier in the broadcast about the 49ers' inability to play pass defense, and that's exactly what I think the Saints are going to do this afternoon. They're going to put that ball up and just make San Francisco stop them.
He turned around, number 29, Gerard Williams, the cornerback. Spot kick is good, and Benny Ricardo ups that New Orleans lead now to 7-0 with 8:12 to go. Archie Manning, 33 yards to Ike Harris. The book on Manning now, 4 out of 7 and 1 touchdown. So the Saints, looking for their first win, have opened up and scored quickly here in San Francisco, and they lead the 5-8 49ers by a score of 7-0. Benny Ricardo kicks off, and Joe Montana operates the offense in 60 seconds.
Introducing the revolutionary twin action shaving system engineered to outperform twin blades. The new Norelco Rotatract razor. Inside 3 floating heads, Rotatract works like twin blades to grip hair. Raise it up, then razor it off, hundreds of times a second, for a shave that's twin blade close without a nick or cut. The new twin action Norelco Rotatract razor, cord and rechargeable. Twin blade closeness, but no gotcha.
Watch out, winter's almost here, and wind's gonna get you, and cold's gonna get you, and high fuel bills are gonna get you, because you still haven't added more insulation to your attic. So do it now. Get more Owens Corning fiberglass insulation and add another layer to put your house in the pink. See your dealer or contractor. Buy more Owens Corning fiberglass insulation now, before winter gets you.
Monday, it's a
great big knockdown drag-out party.
Flo gives a friend a final send-off, but will Farley make her wing-ding a downer? Find out Monday night.
Well, it didn't take them long. 3 first downs, 9 plays. They go 74 yards. Archie Manning 4 out of 7 and 1 touchdown. Of course, the big one, the 33-yard scoring strike to Ike Harris. Benny Ricardo all set to kick it off now. And the Saints are on top 7-0. 8:12 to go in quarter number 1. Ricardo, end over end, good kick. And the San Francisco 49ers watch it roll into the end zone. Back there deep was James Owens. And Joe Montana breaks out, first down, 10 yards to go. Jimmy, when New Orleans does get the ball back, Archie Manning, who obviously is going to be putting it up, will have a pretty good opportunity to work on the corners of the San Francisco 49ers now, because 2 of their starting defensive backs are out with injuries.
Ricky Churchman has a bruised knee. He may return. Charles Johnson has a hip pointed. He probably won't return. We'll just have to wait and see.
Montana operates from the slot to the left side. There you see the stats on the second-year man from Notre Dame. Earl Cooper, number 49. Blocking in front of Linville Elliott, 35. Elliott cracks it across the 22 in the vicinity of the 23-yard line. Brings up second down and 7. Groom, 78 in there in the tackle, along with Joe Fetterspiel, the 9-year veteran from Kentucky. And there's a name and a number, 58, we're going to call a lot this afternoon for New Orleans.
Fetterspiel has been an outstanding linebacker throughout the course of his career. There are some people who are saying that he is starting to lose a step now and that he's playing everything just a little bit softer. He's playing just a little bit deeper in his middle linebacking position so he can react a little more.
Linville Elliott, 35, has been the workhorse so far this afternoon for San Francisco on the ground. They go to him again. Trap block over the middle, across the 25, near the 26-yard line for Linville Elliott. Elliott came in with 38 attempts on the ground, averaging about 4 yards. His longest gain from scrimmage was 20 yards. No touchdowns. Tommy Hart, 53, wrapped him down at the 26. It brings up third down and 4.
And so far, I've been pretty impressed with the way the Saints have been playing on defense. They're gang tackling. They have 3 or 4 defensive players around that ball carrier whenever he goes down.
Saints go into the nickel defense right now. Montana 0 for 1 so far in passing this afternoon. Operates from a slot to the left side. Fakes to Linville Elliott. Now comes back to him. And he'll be shy of first down yardage. And the Saints, just as Jim Hill has mentioned, defensively more than doing the job early on.
One of the problems, Jim, that the 49ers have had this year is that they've depended so much on their running backs to be their primary receivers. That's a perfect example right there. If this ball game gets late into the 4th quarter and the 49ers are behind, they may have a difficult chance of catching up because of the fact that they cannot score on the big play. They depend on their running backs too much.
Jim Miller will kick from about the 16-yard line. Wes Chandler waits for it at the 31. Flags it down there, looks for a block. They try to set up the wall on the right sideline, and Archie Manning has pretty good field position once again as New Orleans starts 1st and 10 from their own 42. 42-yard kick by Jimmy Miller and a 12-yard return by Wes Chandler. Benny Bunch in there in the tackle. So when we come right back, as you're looking at referee Dick Jorgensen, New Orleans has the football, and they've got a 7-0 lead.
Here's to good friends. Tonight is kind of special.
This is Rally Leader. You out there, Chuck?
We're pedaling as fast as we can.
Everybody else is here. Where are you?
Well, we've got ourselves sort of a weight handicap.
How'd that happen?
You guys just brought the bread and cheese. We got a whole trunk full of Lowenbrow.
When you want the taste of a truly great American beer, tonight, let it be Lowenbrow.
Well, we're glad you made it.
Who, us or the Lowenbrow?
The first electronic football games like these were for only one player.
End run.
But something was missing.
Can I play? Wait your turn.
Then along came head-to-head electronic football by Coleco.
Now we can play at the same time. I'm offense. I'm defense.
With head-to-head, you're really in the game. A power sweep. He fights through for the tackle. You pass. He blitzes. Intercepts.
This is real competition.
Why settle for a one-player game when you can have it all? Play alone, against the computer, or for real competition, play
head-to-head.
Why settle for less?
Next Saturday, some of the best men and women golfers on the tour pair up for a test of strategy and teamwork in the Mixed Team Golf Classic. All part of a Super Sports Saturday next week on CBS.
You look at Dick Stanfill on the right side of your screen, Bill Walsh over on the left side. Bill Walsh started off very quickly with his 49ers this year, winning his first 3 games, then losing 8, winning their last 2. 5 victories for San Francisco is better than their last 2 seasons combined. Archie on first down to go up top. Ike Harris, did he catch it inbounds? Yes, he did, and that's another New Orleans first down. Good concentration by big number 82, Ike Harris. Now the other official says no. As Lindsey Nelson would say, they have had a conclave between the officials.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. I like the attitude that the Saints have in this ball game. Archie Manning is going to pass the ball, and I don't blame him because the 49ers defensively have not been playing well throughout the course of the year. They've been giving up a lot of short stuff, and that's what they're going to keep doing.
Jimmy, they're still talking about it on the sideline now. Dick Jorgensen is going to cast the official ballot here. One linesman said yes, he caught it in. The other one says no, he did not. And here is Dick.
Incomplete pass. Receiver would not have come down in bounds if he had not been pushed.
You can bet that's not what Ike Harris said as he walked back.
Or Archie either, absolutely.
That's a final from Tampa Bay. The Bucs, believe it or not, had a 10-0 lead over Minnesota, and the Vikings by Bud Grant came back. Cleveland, as we said earlier, all they could handle and more with the New York Jets. Cleveland retains that big lead in the AFC Black and Blue Central Division against the Houston Oilers. Manning operates first down now, second down on the incompleted pass, second down and 10. Slot to the right side, he'll go up top again. Blitz is on. Open man is Tony Galbraith. Close to a first down, he'll be about a half a yard short.
I think we may be here a little while this afternoon, Jim, because Archie's going to throw the ball. There is no doubt about that. His receivers are getting open. San Francisco's playing a 3-4 defensive alignment. They're going to have to start blitzing a little bit more or maybe go to a 4-man rush because they just aren't able to get back there to him.
Believe that one if you can. San Diego, after upsetting the Philadelphia Eagles a week ago, goes into RFK Stadium in Washington, fell behind 14-0. Then late in the fourth quarter, it was 26-17. It looked as if San Diego might be mounting some kind of a comeback, and 2 quick scores. Joe Theismann had a big day, and the Washington Redskins put away the San Diego Chargers, which makes that game in Oakland, across the bay here, all the more important because the Raiders have a chance to take over undisputed possession of first place in the AFC West.
And that game between Dallas and Oakland right now is tied at 7-7. Tony Dorsett just scored on a 20-yard run, and as we mentioned, it's all tied at 7.
That game very important for Dallas also, Jimmy, because with Atlanta upset over Philadelphia Eagles, Dallas now has a chance to pull into a tie with Philadelphia, and they meet the last regular season game in Dallas for a big showdown. Tony Galbraith on first down for the New Orleans Saints is close to another one. He's got it. Ray Rhodes, 26, in there in the tackle, along with Bobby Leopold, the rookie out of Notre Dame. Archie Manning now calling his own plays, mixing them up well. You look at the pitch back and look at the way the left side of that New Orleans line, Emmanuel Sanders, James Taylor, opened up the hole there. And then the cut back against the flow for Tony Galbraith, another first down. The 5-year man from Missouri. Saints have a 7-0 lead, and they've got New Orleans now playing defense on defense.
4-13! 4-13!
Hand off to Jack Holmes from Texas Southern. Not much doing there. And of course, Jimmy, what we mean by playing defensively on defense is the offensive line of New Orleans sticking it to the 49ers right now. New Orleans, because Archie's mixing up his plays, I think the 49ers are a little tentative on defense. They're not quite sure what's coming.
What they're doing is they're sitting back and they're reading. They're what we call as catchers. Instead of them delivering a blow from a defensive standpoint, they're waiting and reading and trying to see what's going to happen. And as a result, they're down 7-0, and the Saints are driving again.
Second down and 7 as Manning sends Wes Chandler to the top of your screen, wide to the right side. Ike Harris with a 33-yard touchdown catch to the bottom of your screen. Holmes and Rogers are the running backs. Tony Galbraith out of the backfield. Another first down. Charles Cornelius, the 4-year man from Bethune-Cookman, number 28, spun around by Tony Galbraith, and another first down.
This telecast is presented by authority of the National Football League, and it is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the San Francisco 49ers and the National Football League is prohibited.
So Archie Manning First down and 10 yards to go. Line of scrimmage, the 23-yard line of the San Francisco 49ers, who are not sure what's coming at them right now, but they know they've got their hands full with a scrappy 0-13 football team. Holmes bucks it up the middle in the vicinity of the 20-yard line. Not much more. Pickup of about 3 yards brings up second down and 7. Jimmy Webb, number 74, 6'5", 245, clogging up the middle.
Manning right now 6 of 10 for 90 yards. And as I look at the 49er defense, it reminds me of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Last week, an outstanding game. 6 interceptions. They upset the New England Patriots, and now look at it.
Second down and 7. Manning sends Harris to the left side. Wes Chandler wide to the right side. Looking for Wes Chandler. He was covered very well one-on-one by number 28 over there on the right side, Charles Cornelius. Jim Stuckey finally pursued Manning and brought him down from behind. The rookie from Clemson with good speed.
One of the few times that the 49ers have really covered everyone as far as the Saint receivers are concerned. But I am still impressed with the way that New Orleans has come out this afternoon and their attitude. They are taking it to people the way that people have taken it to them for the past 13 weeks.
Pretty good job by Charles Cornelius, too, because Wes Chandler not an easy man to cover one-on-one. Usually they like to double team and give him some help. This time Chandler's to the bottom side of your screen. They operate from the slot on third down and 8. Manning looks over the middle. Harris fell down. Now gets back up, goes into the corner of the end zone. Henry Childs, touchdown! Henry Childs working against Ray Rhodes. Penalty flag in the end zone will be face guarding. Obviously, the Saints will decline it, and they've upped their lead to 13.
The outstanding thing about this, though, Jim, is that Childs slipped and fell. San Francisco is not getting enough rush. They're only rushing 3 men. 5 should always.
Number 26, defense, decline, 6 points.
5 men on offense should always block 3 men on defense. Childs fell down, got up, and Archie had time enough to find him.
And any time you give Archie Manning time to find his receiver, he came in here with a 60% completion ratio, 18 touchdown tosses on the season, make it 20 with 2 today, as Benny Ricardo makes it a 14-point New Orleans Saints advantage. So the Saints, 0-13, come into Candlestick Park here in San Francisco and show the hometown 49ers they indeed mean business. Let's take another look at that touchdown toss from Archie Manning. Again, keep your eye on Henry Childs because he fell down and then got up and kept running the route and improvised. Manning first looked to Chandler. He was covered. Now he looks over to Henry Childs, sees that he falls down. He's got to stall for a little bit of time, rolls out of the pocket, now puts it up in the corner of the end zone. Here's the interference in the face guarding by Ray Rhodes, but Henry Childs, with a good concentration, running backwards, makes the reception.
And when the score of this ball game is flashed around the country, there's a 4-letter word that people are going to say, W-H-A-T. They won't believe it right now.
Well, Joe Montana and the San Francisco 49ers have only had 2 opportunities on offense. The Saints using up most of this first quarter. There's just 2:07 left to go. And San Francisco's only had the football twice, and they've punted twice.
And much of the credit for the Saint lead this afternoon has to be to their offensive line because they've been doing an outstanding job of pass protecting, and it has also set up the run. This is one of the few times that the pass has set up the run.
You know, talking to Bill Walsh and his assistants before the ball game, you were down on the field also. Nobody wants to be the team that loses to a team that's 0-13. They were very much afraid of the New Orleans Saints coming into this football game. Ricardo with a good boot. Grabbed there by Jimmy Owens. Across the 20 to the 24-yard line, and that's where Montana and the 49ers offense will operate from. Gordon Banks, number 80, in there in the tackle. As you look at the scoring drive for the New Orleans Saints, Manning now a 33-yard touchdown pass to Ike Harris, 1 of 21 yards to Henry Childs. We have not seen that much of Earl Cooper, number 49, the outstanding rookie for the San Francisco 49ers. He has 4 touchdown catches. He has 4 touchdowns on the ground. And mostly they've been working to Lindo Elliott, number 35. Watch Montana now. Sole running back is Earl Cooper, number 49. Montana goes up top to Cooper. Not much doing. And I believe we're going to have a clip called on San Francisco, Jimmy.
Well, the Saints right now are having fun, Jim. They really are. I can see it the way that they're getting back to the huddle. They're clapping their hands in the huddle. They're cheering each other on, and the 49ers just can't figure out what in the world is happening to them. But one thing that they better start to do, they better get a better job of blocking from their offensive line, because Montana has to pass now.
Well, he's going to have to pass for more yardage because the Saints obviously will accept this penalty. Referee Dick Jorgensen about to step it off. It'll be a clip against the San Francisco 49ers, which certainly isn't going to hurt their cause. They have started all of their possessions inside their own 25-yard line.
Clipping number 51, offense, still first down.
That's Randy Cross, the 5-year man from UCLA, guilty of the clip on a cutback block. You see our score with 1:52 left to go in the first quarter. Freddie Solomon, 88, is wide to the right side. Dwight Clark, 87, at the top of your screen, split out to the left side. Montana in trouble, quick release, gets it to Cooper, and he's down at the 12. Boy, these Saints defensively, Jimmy, you called it from the very beginning, are fired up.
And one thing that we talked about earlier, Jim, is the passing philosophy for the 49ers. It is so running back oriented that you just can't make up a lot of ground when you're behind like this.
Ken Bordelin, number 50, the 4-year man from LSU, in there in the tackle of Earl Cooper. How about this one? Because I want to tell you, Cincinnati had at one time a 24-3 lead against Baltimore, and Greg Landry and the Colts almost pulled it out. Wide receivers are left and right. It's second down, 18 for Montana. He goes again to Earl Cooper. They try to isolate him on the linebacker. They do for a short gain. It'll bring up third down. He's way shy of first down yardage, and the natives are getting restless.
They certainly are, but I don't think that Montana had any other choice. And because the Saints were playing in a zone defense, the Saints are playing it very smart this afternoon as far as their defensive unit is concerned. They're just going to give up the very short pass because they know that San Francisco is a back-oriented team as far as passing is concerned.
Tommy Myers, the man that went one-on-one and won that battle with Earl Cooper. Myers, the 9-year veteran out of Syracuse. He's seen it all with the New Orleans Saints. One of their class players. Montana faced now with third down, 13 yards to go. Looks downfield over the middle. Flag on the play. Darylyn Moore, number 74, defensively for New Orleans, the man that batted the ball up in the air. A holding call, as you see the preliminary indication from Dick Jorgensen, against the 49ers. The pass was caught way shy of first down yardage. So 3 times the 49ers have had the ball, Jim, and 3 times they've had to kick it away.
I think San Francisco right now is kind of self-destructing because they are really they are shocked because of what's happened to them defensively, and their offense really hasn't been able to counteract it.
So we'll see Jimmy Miller again drop back in punt formation, and again Wes Chandler back to receive. He's standing on the Saints' 40-yard line. New Orleans, as you look at the stats on Miller for the season, will enjoy good field position once again. They had a good punt rush on that time. Bad wobbly kick. And the Saints operate again. 1st and 10 from their own 42-yard line. They've got a 14-0 lead, a 36-yard punt. Miller obviously didn't get all of it. Good punt rush, as we said. And Manning and company come back out with 9 seconds left in the first quarter.
Oh, I tell you, there is no reason for New Orleans to slack up right now. They have been down all year long for the past 13 weeks. People have been kicking at them and making fun of them. They lead 14-0. There is no reason for them not to try and keep on going and keep the ball in the air.
Today must be the day of comebacks, Jimmy. The Cardinals had a 14-3 lead, but led by, I guess, Danielson, they came back.
They beat St. Louis 23-14. That's right.
Colts were behind big and almost came back. Manning gives the ball to Tony Galbraith. Knifes his way across the 45 up to the 46-yard line. Archie Reese in there in the tackle. And that's the end of the first quarter. 2 scoring passes. Archie Manning to Ike Harris. Archie Manning to Henry Childs. The winless Saints are 0-13, but they're giving the 49ers all they can handle and more. Here at Candlestick, it's 14-0 Saints when we come right back.
When there's nothing but mud where the road used to be, and you feel like your car is working overtime, it's nice to have this gas-saving Toyota pulling for you. Introducing the 1981 front-wheel drive Toyota Corolla Tercel. The Toyota Tercel, a car that pulls its own weight.
And a little bit more. Tercel.
Excuse me. I'm not the same crazy coach who used to storm around the sidelines yelling at the officials. I've learned to relax, and I drink light beer from Miller. Do you know that light's got 1/3 less calories than a regular beer? And listen to this. Light doesn't fill me up. Besides that, light tastes fantastic. Oh, sure, there are a lot of other beers around, and you can drink any one you want. But let me tell you this. For
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
As I was saying, I don't care what anybody else...
STP, a big name in racing for nearly 20 years. STP oil treatment on the track in some of the world's most expensive engines. Around the track, around the world, every day, tens of thousands of people get STP oil treatment. Get it for your car, satisfaction guaranteed. Around the track, around the world, STP oil treatment is #1.
I think it's Walter Payton Day in Chicago.
It must be. He scored 3 times on runs of 1, 3, and 14 yards, and you see it right there. Chicago 48, Green Bay 7.
And across the bay, they're having quite an important shootout right now because San Diego's Chargers have lost this afternoon, so their record will dip to 9-5. Oakland, if they can win, would enjoy a 1-game lead in the AFC West. By contrast, in the NFC East, the Philadelphia Eagles have lost, so Dallas can pull into a tie. Archie Manning, 2nd down and 7. Little flare pass to Tony Galbraith, and he's doing most of that on his own near midfield, shy of by about 3 yards of first down yardage. Bobby Leopold, the rookie from Notre Dame, in there on the tackle.
Archie is in a very strange situation. I know this is a very strange feeling for him right now because of the fact the Saints really don't know what it's like to be up 14-0. And the thing that their coaching staff has to do now is to keep pushing them and to keep pushing them because they don't want to let them get conservative and let down.
Credit to the offensive line of the New Orleans Saints. What a wonderful job they've been doing all afternoon because Manning has had plenty of time with which to throw the football. 3rd and 2, slot to the left side. Tony Galbraith has the first down, and he's got lots of green turf all the way down to the San Francisco 41-yard line behind Ricky Churchman, number 33. The rookie from Texas made the tackle and might have prevented a touchdown.
What New Orleans is doing right now is they're running off at angles, and it makes it very easy to run and to get a pretty big hole. You see Manuel Sanders pulling on the trap block, and there's Galbraith jumping right through the hole. And when you run at an angle, when you have a pretty good running back like Galbraith, he can pretty much pick his hole and decide to go inside or outside.
Galbraith stays in the I formation. He's the deep back. Holmes is the up back. Chandler wide right. Harris split left. They look to Wes Chandler, pump and go, and Chandler comes down inbounds, and he took quite a licking. Number 22, Dwight Hicks. I want to tell you, the second-year man from Michigan really stuck it to him. Chandler, great concentration. 16-yard first down pass from Manning, who's got the hot arm this afternoon.
West did an excellent job of concentrating on the ball because it was an out and up pattern. Archie doing an excellent job of picking his play selection right now, faking to West. You see the pump there, and then throwing it in between the short defensive back and the deep man, Hicks having to come over. But watch what happens to West right here. Hit to hit.
Line of scrimmage now, the San Francisco 26-yard line. Chandler wide right, Harris split left. On the draw play, Tony Galbraith. Big hole over on the left side. Emmanuel Sanders, 79, the 7-year man from Jackson State. James Taylor, 71, the 3rd-year man from Missouri. Opened up a huge hole, as you saw on the left side of that Saints line. Jimmy Webb, number 74 from Mississippi State. Gerard Williams from Langston in there on the tackle, but not before Tony Galbraith had rambled for another first down. Galbraith now 36 yards rushing on 4 carries. Cardinals trying to come back, have added a field goal, but still a little bit short behind the Lions. 1st and 10, New Orleans. Holmes and Galbraith are your running backs. Harris wide right, Chandler wide left. Tony Galbraith behind Jack Holmes, up in the vicinity of the 10-yard line. Keena Turner, the rookie from Purdue, in there on the tackle, and again that offensive line of New Orleans, Jimmy, just firing off the football.
I think there are 2 things that the 49ers are doing this afternoon, which is the reason why they are down 14-0. Number one, they're taking the Saints for granted, or they did prior to the kickoff. They took them for granted, and from a defensive line standpoint, The linemen, now they have 4 men in there on the front 4. The defensive line people are standing up too high. When you stand up high, you present a big target, and it's easy to move you around.
Chandler now approaching 50 yards in rushing. New Orleans gained 103 yards in rushing last week. It was only the second time all season that the Saints have picked up that much yardage, and you see the call in the end zone. Pass interference on Gerard Williams. So everything is going against the 49ers today.
Interference, number 29, defense, first down on the 1-yard line.
And I don't think there was any question about that pass interference call, none whatsoever. Like I said, I think the mental approach for the 49ers into this ball game has not been its sharpest, because you can just see it out there, and I felt it as I watched them warm up. They really didn't have all of their total concentration. Here we go right here. We'll see Williams right there. Yes, he's he already hit the receiver long before the ball got there.
Of course, Manning doing his own play calling now. 9 out of 13, 130 yards, 2 touchdowns early on. From the 1, Saints trying to punch it in. They lead by 14. Jack Holmes has got the touchdown, New Orleans. Over on the right side, behind the blocking of Tony Galbraith, and the 49er fans, with not much to cheer about at all, are letting their feelings be known very early in this football game. They have fallen behind by a bunch. It's now 20-0, and Benny Ricardo will try to make it a 21-point New Orleans advantage.
Once again, outstanding job by the line up front, which allows the running back to get on into the end zone. You see some of the 49ers up there, they're going up. Those people up front, that's Dave LaFerry and Fred Stutt. Excellent job up there. Those men are really sticking their head in there, and the 49ers on defense are turning their backs and they're turning their side. That's why they're just getting run against like they are.
Let's not forget Jimmy Peterzak, the 6-year man from Eastern Michigan. He's the center. He keys things on that offensive line. New Orleans, because of the line, because of the passing of Archie Manning, who was thrown for 2 and set up a third, enjoying a 21-0 lead over the San Francisco 49ers.
TCR Crossfire Racing, only possible on the wide open track. For the first time, 2 loops connected by 4 lanes of no man's land called Crossfire Alley. To win this race, you must stay on the suicide loop and risk a head-on collision with a jam car. So every lap becomes a countdown of nerves, speed, and lane-changing skill. And only TCR's got it. TCR Crossfire Racing, wide open racing from Ideal.
Need your help. Is it me or my 1981 Toyota Corolla? Watch. See what I mean? I know Corolla looks like a million, got plenty of style, not to mention a peppy 1.8-liter engine. But I ask you, is it me or my Toyota Corolla?
Give me a ride to the library?
Tell me, was it me or my Toyota Corolla?
Oh, what a feeling! Your Corolla! Toyota!
Jim Kelly, Jim Hill with you from Candlestick Park here in San Francisco. The 49ers, well, they won their first 3 games, Jim. Then they lost 8 in a row. They have won their last 2. But they're getting all they can handle and much more from the 0-13 New Orleans Saints. Penalty flag on the kick as the 49ers have their deepest penetration of the football game. Jim, you've got an interesting statistic. Total yards so far, almost unbelievable.
179 for New Orleans. 24 for San Francisco. Really unbelievable.
Flag thrown on the kickoff. The Saints had to have been offside. And obviously the 49ers, enjoying their deepest penetration so far, will decline the penalty and start 1st and 10, almost at the midfield stripe.
Offside, number 49, kicking team, decline, first down.
Joe Montana at quarterback, the 2nd-year man from Notre Dame, number 16, 63% pass completion ratio coming in. Sends number 87, Dwight Clark, wide to the left side. Freddie Simon split out wide to the right side. Earl Cooper in there at the running backs along with Linville Elliott. And he's got Dwight Clark, the 2nd-year man from Clemson, and that's the first 49er first down. James Marshall, 23, the 1st-year man from Jackson State, in there in the tackle along with Reggie Mathis, the 2nd-year man from Oklahoma. And Montana finds himself down by 21, has to go to the air. That's the first down for San Francisco in the football game, and obviously the deepest penetration for the 49ers. Line of scrimmage, the 43-yard line of New Orleans. Wide to the right side is Freddie Solomon, Cooper, and Linville Elliott. This is Elliott in motion to the near side. Earl Cooper actually lost 2 yards. Good defense that time, Jimmy.
The Saints are reacting very well on defense. That's the reason why that play was stopped for virtually no gain and probably a 1.5 yard loss. They are absolutely fired up. They have this 21-0 lead. They are in a position now to whereas they can really come into this ball game and have just a big blowout.
David Waymer, number 44, the man who made the solo tackle on Earl Cooper. That's Steve DeBerg, who had the starting quarterback job, lost it 2 games ago to this man, number 16, Joe Montana. 2nd down and 12. The deep drop. Montana's in trouble. Flag thrown on the play from way across the field. This will be probably defensive holding against the New Orleans Saints. Should be an automatic San Francisco first down. We'll wait for Dick Jorgensen. We mentioned the book on Joe Montana. He came in with 65 completions in 102 attempts, 63.7.
Holding, number 48, defense, first down.
Don Schwartz, the culprit. Montana with 6 touchdown tosses so far this season. 3 of them came, though, last week, Jim, against the New England Patriots in that big upset.
And Bill Walsh calls that one of the biggest victories in the history of the 49ers.
Joe Montana now 6 out of 7, but for a 20 yards. They fake the end around, and they're not buying it. Staying at home and doing his job was Grooms, the 6-year man from Tennessee Tech, 6'4" and 260.
Actually, no one blocked him coming in from the strong side then, Jim. We'll see Elois Grooms coming in. He'll be coming in from the right-hand portion of your screen. Number 78 comes in just as clean as a whistle. No one blocks him right there and makes the quarterback sack.
This is Grooms' little boy, Elois.
Yes.
6'4", 260, hungry young man. 10 minutes left to go in the second quarter. Saints on top, 21-0 as you look at the book on Joe Montana. And Elliott in motion to the near side. Montana was in the grasp, but number 74, Darylyn Moore, got away from it, and Tommy Hart finally threw him to the ground. Montana gets up slowly, and that'll bring up 3rd down and lots of real estate.
Just great hustle as far as the Saints are concerned right now. The 49ers have allowed only 20 quarterback sacks this season, which is the best in the NFC. But San Francisco up front this afternoon, I keep saying it goes back to your mental approach throughout the course of the week in preparation for a ball game. The Saints 0-13. I think that San Francisco thought that they would just come in here and just lie down with only 2 or 3 games left in the regular season.
To give you an idea just what a good job defensively New Orleans is doing, San Francisco leads the NFC in passing offense, and so far New Orleans has held them to 20 yards by the air. Montana needs 22. Incomplete, almost intercepted from the rookie, David Waymer. So you had a Notre Damer going against a Notre Damer right there, and Waymer came up the better of it. And we'll see Jim Miller again. This will be the 4th San Francisco punt. And were it not for a bad kick by Benny Ricardo and a defensive holding call, San Francisco would be in even worse shape. Miller to kick it away from about the 47. That's Wes Chandler, lets it go inside the end zone. Jim Miller has landed the fewest punts, total of 8 inside the 20 of any other punter in the NFL, and this will be a touchback. The Saints will come out 1st and 10 from their own 20-yard line. They're up 21-0, 9:09 left to go in quarter number 2. As we have a conclave again, the San Francisco 49ers thought maybe they got to the ball before it went into the end zone. Dick Jorgensen had ruled otherwise. And when we come right back with 9:09 left, the Saints lead it 21-0.
Sony introduces the art of watching television. The Sony Betamax lets you record and see what you want when you want, to summon into your home a world of wonder. And a remarkable feature called Beta Scan lets you scan forward and reverse to quickly find any single image. Betamax transforms the act of watching television into the art of watching television.
Your show is about to begin.
Sony, the one and only.
Come experience what lies beyond the sports car. American Motors introduces Eagle SX4, the new four-wheel drive sport machine. Eagle SX4 outcorners Trans Am in soft sand, out-accelerates Mustang Turbo in loose dirt, outbrakes MGB on dry pavement. Plus, the four-wheel drive Eagle SX4 beats them all in gas mileage. Experience driving in the fourth dimension with American Motors.
Wednesday, when Blue Flu strikes the department, Enos becomes a one-man police force.
Promise me it ain't something crazy. You up to that?
Enos, Wednesday night.
Jim Kelly and Jim Hill with you from Candlestick Park. After the conclave, which is still going on, referee Dick Jorgensen and his officials crew have ruled that San Francisco's player broke the plane of the end zone, but his feet were on the playing field when he jumped into the end zone and batted the ball back. So they killed the ball, Jimmy, inside the 4-yard line. It's 1st and 10 for Manning in that point.
And an outstanding job there by Jared Williams.
So the Saints are down there in be careful country with a 21-point lead. They operate 1st and 10 from their own 4-yard line, slot to the left side. Manning gives the ball to Tony Galbraith. Galbraith up to the 10, maybe the 11-yard line. A good lead block by Jack Holmes that time before Dwight Hicks, the second-year man from Michigan, who loves to hit, put it to Tony Galbraith. But not before he had run for 7 yards, brings up 2nd down and 3.
San Francisco 49ers had better really get their heads up, because they're playing very sloppy defense right now. Not to take anything away from the Saints offensive line, but their attitude, their approach to the ball game this afternoon has been what some coaches would call very, very sloppy, and as a result, they're getting embarrassed right now.
Tony Galbraith now 47 yards on 6 carries, and you look at his stats in the pass completion department, having a big afternoon. They try to buck it right over the middle. That's Jack Holmes. He's up toward the 13-yard line. Lawrence Pillars, number 65, maybe the strongest 49er on defense. A huge upper body, Jimmy. You see him down in the locker room, 6'3", 260, but he looks like the Incredible Hulk. What's going on in Kansas City?
Oh, isn't this something right here? Kansas City is leading Denver right now, 7-0. That's going to be a big ball game in the FC's Western Division.
Walter Payton Day continues in Chicago.
Oh, 55-7, the Bears lead the Packers.
3rd down and 2, short yardage situation for Manning and the New Orleans Saints. They try the cross punt. And I believe they stopped him about a half a yard shy. Lawrence Pillars, 65, the 5-year man from Alcorn State, got to Tony Galbraith first. We'll see where they unpile. Across the bay in Oakland, the Raiders scored first and very quickly on a 6-yard touchdown pass from Jim Plunkett to tight end Raymond Chester. Oakland led it 7-0, but since that time it's been all Dallas.
Tony Dorsett, Rafael Septien, Ron Springs all scoring, and Dallas now leads that ball game 16-7.
Dorsett a 20-yard run, Septien a 52-yard field goal on the natural turf, and a 2-yard run by Ronnie Springs. Cowboys, some people suggest, don't like to play away from artificial surface. They're doing all right across the bay this afternoon. Russell Erxleben gets away a good kick. Freddie Solomon gets a great return. The 49ers right back in this football game. Freddie Solomon goes 55 yards with it. And there are Saints bodies scattered all over the football field. What a great individual effort by Freddie Solomon as they set up the wall. You look at it here. The lead block thrown by number 22, Dwight Hicks, right there. And then Freddie Solomon cuts back against the grain, and he's off to the races.
One of the strange things about it, as he bumped into his own man, Charles Cornelius, but you see right that Erxleben slipped and fell just as Solomon got right to him. Solomon put a nice little fake on him. Erxleben went down to the turf, and 49ers, as you mentioned, Jim, right back in it.
Freddie Solomon, his second touchdown from a punt return so far this year. Ray Wersching will try to narrow the gap to a 14-point deficit. He does. 57 yards, the official statistic now on Freddie Solomon's punt return, and what a beauty it was. And of course, when he cut back against the grain, Jimmy, they had that wall set up over on the right side. Lots of open real estate before, as you said, Russell Ertzleben simply fell down. So we've got 7:22 left to go in quarter number 2. The Saints, looking for their first win, started out quickly, 21-0. New Orleans offensively back in the football game. When we come right back, they lead 14 points.
Well, looks like you lead a comfortable life.
I do okay.
Now, let me tell you something. You do better in comfortable clothes. Like Hager Magic Stretch.
Hey, a stretch waistband.
Special stretch woven fabric, too.
Nice.
And Hager has lots of great looks that won't squeeze your wallet. In
Stuckey, Terry Totolo, Archie Reese in there, clogging up the middle. One of the few times that a New Orleans play from offense has failed to pick up any yardage at all.
I know I saw Archie on the field before today's ball game, and he still has that same smile on his face. And I looked at him and I said, hey, things have been going pretty tough for you. He said, yeah, but they'll be all right. We'll get better.
You don't think that man is intense, Dick Stanfield? Put about 10,000 miles on those hush puppies already this afternoon. Archie needs 12 for the first down. Sets up the screen to Jack Holmes. He's got a convoy. And he did that last 5 all on his own. It's another Saints first down. Gerard Williams, number 29 from Langston, a 4-year man in there on the tackle, but not before Jack Holmes picked up the last 5 or 6 on his own. Another look.
Excellent job of setting up the screen by Archie. He lets the defensive lineman get in on him. Then Jack Holmes gets some good blocking up front by his offensive lineman. But now we're going to see some very poor tackling by the 49ers. You see one guy going in with his head down. You can't tackle what you can't see.
And you can't arm tackle either, especially somebody like Jack Holmes. Good size. 6 foot even, 210 in the poundage. And now the 49ers a little bit confused. Bill Walsh, you look at him. His team fell behind by a bunch, 21-0. They're down by 14 right now with 5:41 to go when we come right back.
When I was coaching, I was the boss. I used to feed them, dress them, get them to bed on time. Now I treat them to our favorite beer, right?
Like beer from Miller.
Right's got a third less calories than the regular beer. And what else?
It's less filling, Red.
And they really like the taste. Another beer, anyone?
Yeah, do it.
What's the magic word? Please.
Like beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
Alcoa can't wait. We're gonna keep moving on today. We can't afford to hesitate. Come on along, participate. Conserving energy every day. Alcoa and aluminum know the way. We can't wait. We're doing it now. We can't wait. We'll show you how. Alcoa can't wait.
We can't wait for tomorrow.
Next Saturday, you might see 1984's Olympians as CBS Sports brings you the World Junior Figure Skating Championships and the Great American Truck Race, all part of a Super Sports Saturday next week on CBS.
You take a look at number 14, Russell Ertzleben, the punter for the New Orleans Saints. He pulled a muscle, but it has been taped. He is expected to return, which is good news for the Saints because he averages 39.2 yards every time he punts the football away. And anytime you're around that 40-yard per punt average, Jimmy, you're doing your job.
And especially in this ballpark this afternoon where the wind changes, it seems like every 3 or 4 minutes, so they're really going to need him.
Kickers are a different drummer. They dance to a different drummer. The punters are the place kickers. And Chris Barr, who is certainly there is Mrs. Stanfield.
I'm sure she has to be very proud of her son right now. So far this afternoon, the mother of the Saints head coach, Dick Stanfield, Mrs. Stanfield. She's enjoying it now.
Of course, her son, Dick, was All-American here at the University of San Francisco 30 years ago. Archie Manning, first down, 10 yards to go. Saints, Tony Galbraith behind a wall of blockers, tries to turn the corner. A good defensive play that time. Ray Rhodes, number 26, came up from his right cornerback spot to string it out, waited for Keena Turner, number 58, to come over and help out. They strung the play along and stacked him up for little or no gain. We started to talk about kickers dancing to a different drummer. Boy, Chris Barr, who was candidate for least popular Oakland Raider last week after he missed 4 field goals, has just boomed one through from 22 yards across the base, and now Oakland has cut that deficit down to 6. The Dallas Cowboys 16 and Oakland 10. still in the first half. Second down and 8 for Manning and company. Chandler wide to the right side. Harris to the top of your screen, flanked out to the left side. Manning looks underneath. Henry Childs again. He got the first down. He wanted the end zone. Childs just will not quit. Terry Totolo, ex-Philadelphia Eagle, a 5-year man from UCLA, in there in the tackle, but not before Henry Childs had picked up 29 yards.
Childs is playing like an all-pro this afternoon. Outstanding job of catching the ball, but Archie does an excellent job. Now watch how he kind of sidearms the ball right there because he had a defensive player right in his face. Henry comes over, and not only, as you mentioned, Jim, getting the first down, he smells 6 points, and he wants to have a good ball game because he really deserves it.
Henry Childs, 3 big catches so far this afternoon, had 15 over the first 13 games, up and over. But the 49ers stack him up. Jack Holmes down to about the 1-yard line. Danny Buns in there on the tackle. The 3rd-year man from California State at Long Beach. Childs now with 4 catches for a total of 84 yards this afternoon. And coming in, he had grabbed 15 catches for 189 yards. So he's having an all-pro kind of afternoon. And, of course, Archie Manning has been laying it right in the numbers.
You know, I was talking to him before the ball game, and he mentioned before the trade of Chuck Muncie, they didn't have Galbraith, Muncie, himself, and Rich Chandler back there together.
Saints lead it by 14. They want to go back on top by 21. And Jack Holmes, like a bowling ball, was stacked up at about the half-yard line. Manning, as you see, thought he was in. But Manning has yet to win an argument this afternoon with the officials.
I don't think he ever will.
Danny Buns, again, the man who came in there to stick him. Buns is 6'4", 225. He looked like a bowling pin that wouldn't go down when Holmes hit him there.
But more so than anything else, when Archie goes up to the line of scrimmage and when he was arguing like that, that gets his other teammates up just a little bit more because you always look to your quarterback as the leader on your ball club. And when you see him cheering and jumping up and down and clapping, then it just helps you naturally.
3rd and 1. The last time they went to Tony Galbraith behind a Jack Holmes block, it would be a bad chance for Manning to roll out. Holmes! Jack Holmes, who came into the game with no touchdowns. In fact, his longest gain from scrimmage was 7 yards. In fact, he'd only carried the ball 16 times for 28 yards, has just scored the 4th New Orleans Saints touchdown.
Now I would imagine someplace in this ballpark, Steve Rosenblum, vice president of the Saints right now, is smiling just probably for the first time this year. It's been an awful experience for him, but the offensive line, as we mentioned before, outstanding job of blocking.
Benny Ricardo tries to make it a 28-7 lead. He does. He's been perfect on the afternoon. Hasn't had to try a field goal because every time the Saints have touched the football, except once, they have gone in for 7 points. 2:08 left to go in the first half. New Orleans 0-13 on the season, on their way to a 21-point lead against the San Francisco 49ers. The Niners of Bill Walsh are 5-8, and they're in trouble.
The 1981 Honda Prelude is a pleasure to look at in many different ways. You can look at it as a sporty car with front-wheel drive and sleek, racy looks. You can look at it as a comfortable car with a luxurious interior and power steering that comes with the optional automatic. You can look at it as an economy car. After all, it is a Honda. But then again, you can look at it like this.
Honda, we make it simple. Wait till you see how good you can be with Minolta XG1.
Hey, you want to see some terrific pictures?
Depend on the automatic Minolta XG1 to give you clear, sharp pictures. It does the work. You take the credit.
Yeah,
Hey, do you want to see some terrific pictures? No.
Yeah, look.
That's lovely.
For a limited time, get an XG1 and get a $25 rebate from Minolta. See your dealer now for details.
Thursday, December 11th, a special 2-hour premiere of Magnum P.I. Even with Hawaii as a playground, Magnum's idea of fun is danger. A special 2-hour premiere, December 11th.
Back at Candlestick Park, you look at Benny Ricardo, all set to kick it off and tee it away from the 35 yards of the New Orleans Saints. Linville Elliott is back deep. This one is taken by number 89. That's James Owens. He looks for the wall, gets a little running room on the left side. Gets it across the 35. 35 up near the 37-yard line, and that's where Joe Montana and the San Francisco 49ers will start from. 1st and 10, a good 23-yard return by James Owens. Larry Hardy, the man that chased him out of bounds. 1:57 left to go on the clock. Obviously, Montana's got to put it up.
Oh, without a doubt. Good job of running in by Owens from UCLA, former world-class sprinter. And San Francisco is so low now that they have to look up to really see the bottom. They're really going to have to go in at halftime and regroup. And Bill Walsh is just going to have to, he's going to have to chew them out just a little bit because they haven't played well at all.
Well, the 49ers have been able to come back on occasion so far this year. The New Orleans Saints have been come back against before, so stay with us.
I'm Sam Rutigliano, coach of the Cleveland Browns. I started my career as a high school coach. 1 million young people are playing high school football each year. It's a game of speed, contact, and excitement. These athletes receive guidance, conditioning. They learn to think, develop leadership, discipline, and teamwork. High school sports need your attendance. The NFL encourages you to see a high school game this week.
Now that takes teamwork, and I know how important teamwork is in the NFL and in education. I'm Archie Griffin of the Cincinnati Bengals.
It's education that has made our country great. Our schools hold the key to the future for all of us.
Join the education team. Call your local school to find out how you can help. The education team needs you.
For more information, write Box 57020, Washington, D.C.
The preceding message was furnished as a public service by the National Football League.
Keeping warm at Candlestick Park where the winds whip around. Right now, Archie Manning has been whipping that pigskin around, and the San Francisco 49ers find themselves down by 21 whopping points. They've got the football. Boy, I'll tell you what, Thanksgiving Day, the Detroit Lions lose the quickest overtime game ever when they run back a kickoff against them. The Chicago Bears did. And what happened in St. Louis?
Again today, Roy Green returned a punt, 57 yards. St. Louis beats Detroit 24-23.
Montana to Earl Cooper out of bounds at the 40-yard line, deflected at the line of scrimmage. Montana a much better arm than he showed. And he gets out of bounds to stop the clock with 1:49 to go. Picked up very short yardage. Kind of a strangely conceived play because they need a lot of real estate. They tried to spring Cooper and set it up on the halfback screen over to the left side, and New Orleans would have none of it. When we come back, it'll be 2nd down and 8. What's going on in Chicago?
A very embarrassing day for Bart Starr, the Green Bay Packers. Walter Payton scored 3 times. The Bears embarrassed the Packers 61-7.
You know, the Bears are not out of the playoff picture in the NFC Central. Up top, and look out. Dwight Clark, 87, the closest 49er. Dave Washington of the Saints in pursuit, but Joe Montana that time, in the face of an awesome New Orleans rush, did well just to get rid of him.
Well, the defensive line for the 49ers is playing just like their offensive line right now, which is not good at all. New Orleans having a lot of fun on defense. They're taking off on the ball. They're really taking it to the 49ers, and as a result, that's why they lead 28-7.
Joe Montana looks to the sidelines as the plays are wig-wagged in from Bill Walsh, who calls all of the San Francisco plays offensively. 1:44 left on the clock now. Wide receivers are left and right. Running backs are split. Earl Cooper and Linville Elliott. That's Elliott in motion. Montana with a straight drop. And knocking him down is Derlin Moore, the 8-year man from Oklahoma, 6'4", 254. And for the 6th time this afternoon, Jim Miller will have to come in and punt, and the Saints will get another shot.
What's happened so far is that the 49ers up front are not blocking well in their offensive line. They use their backs so much, they send their backs out on the pattern so much that it's leaving Montana completely wide open, and that's why he's sacked.
That's the 3rd sack by the Saints defensively for a minus 22 yards against the San Francisco 49ers. You look at Jimmy Miller. He'll kick it away about his 20-yard line, and Wes Chandler will look up into the sun at about the 30-yard line of New Orleans. Bad snap. Miller gets a good kick away under the circumstances. Chandler fields. And Manning and company operate 1st down, 10 yards to go at their own 33-yard line. Now it'll be interesting to see how Dick Stanfield elects to play it. You've got a 21-point lead. and you've got a quarterback with an extremely hot hand. You've got the defense of the San Francisco 49ers confused. You've got 1:07 left to go. I would go for more points.
Oh, absolutely. We have 3 timeouts left. There is no sense in getting conservative now. People have been kicking your teeth in all year long. No. When you have an opportunity to score and to win, especially when you've been the Saints like that, keep trying to put points on the board.
Ike Harris goes out wide to the left side. Wes Chandler split out wide to the right side. Holmes and Galbraith remain your running backs. Manning will give you a key very early. They want more. Deflected by number 57. That's Danny Bunce, who's had himself a whale of a game defensively, and it seems a little odd to say that in lieu of a 21-point deficit, but he has been in there sticking people all day long.
Been one of the few bright spots on that 49er defense,
which has not had much to cheer about here in the first half. 1:03 left to go. You know, you look ahead to the action next week. As far as these two teams are concerned, the Saints will travel to New York to take on the Jets at Shea, and the 49ers will invade Atlanta. Archie Manning, incomplete, in and out of the hands of Henry Childs. A catchable ball at midfield. Gerard Williams back there might have gotten a fingertip on it. Seemed to just deflect or bother the concentration of Henry Childs a little bit.
And sometimes, Jim, it really doesn't take much to really bother a receiver, especially when the ball hasn't been thrown to him that much throughout the course of a year. But Henry Childs should have come up with this particular pass because it was within his reaching distance. You see the ball coming down right there.
Just was deflected away. 57 seconds left to go. It's 3rd down and 10, so Manning needs a first down to retain possession. You look at the stats on Archie, who has been picture perfect. Jack Holmes looks for a block and first down yardage. He got it. And he stops the clock. Good move by Jack Holmes that time to get out of bounds. And a smart play, an intelligent play by the 3rd-year man from Texas Southern. One of the New Orleans Saints, that's Jimmy Peterzak, is down, number 76. You know, when this game opened up, the Saints were going from our right to our left. Archie Manning pitched the ball back to Jack Holmes, and Jack Holmes tried the flea flicker down to Ike Harris and missed him. Somewhat of a trick play. We've got an interesting feature coming up at halftime. Brent Musburger talks with Sam Ratigliano and others about the use of trick plays. That's all at halftime, which is 50 seconds away. And now New Orleans has taken a timeout while Peterzak limps off the field. You look at Jimmy there, 6'5", 260, the veteran from Eastern Michigan. His backup is John Hill, a 9-year veteran from Lehigh, who will come in. And, of course, at halftime, we'll have all the scores for you from around the NFL today. A couple of surprises. Atlanta, with just 7 seconds left in the game, gets a big field goal by Tim Mazzetti to beat the Philadelphia Eagles in Philadelphia. Ironically, Mazzetti, a former bartender at one of the local taverns in Philadelphia. And that opens up all sorts of possibilities because across the bay, the Oakland Raiders are playing host to the Dallas Cowboys. If Dallas can hang on, and right now they've got a 16-10 lead, Dallas and Philadelphia would be tied in the NFC Eastern Division with 2 games to play, and they've got a big shootout down in Cowboy Land the last regular Sunday. And, of course, as far as the Oakland Raiders are concerned, that's a very big ball game because San Diego's Chargers has lost. They've now fallen to a 9-5, Jimmy, and if the Raiders can win that game, they'll be in sole possession of first place. With Atlanta winning and Los Angeles losing, the Falcons, by the way, very young team. What a great job Lehman Bennett has done all year long. Have opened up a 2-game lead in the NFC West.
You've given us a complete rundown, haven't you?
No, we skipped that Chicago game again. 50 seconds to go. First down for Manning and company. On the draw play to Tony Galbraith. Another first down. They're just eating up 14, 15 yards at will.
Outstanding. Just an outstanding job of blocking by their offensive line. And something even more impressive than that is that their offensive linemen are getting downfield. They're blocking the linebackers, and they're going downfield and trying to block the secondary people.
Archie goes to the hurry-up offense, but they won't have to use it because San Francisco now will have to take a timeout. The reason being Gerard Williams, number 29, was down, and the trainer came out onto the field. As you look at Archie Manning walking over to confer with Dick Stanfill, Gerard Williams was number 29. He went down in the field. The trainer came out. so the team will be charged with a timeout. As you look at the New Orleans Brain Trust over on the far side, now you look at a very concerned Bill Walsh.
Walsh is, and I talked to Coach Walsh earlier before the game this afternoon. I looked at him and I said, it looks like you're trying to turn things around. And he said, well, I'm not too sure about that. I think one of the reasons he made that comment is the fact that he's starting a lot of young people on defense, and it's obvious because of their performance so far this afternoon, being down 28-7. Bill Walsh is an offensive-oriented coach, but he knows that you must win games and you have to win games on defense. And I think that he's a little unhappy, and when he goes in at halftime, he's going to chew a few people out.
Archie Manning makes his way back from the huddle over on the sidelines with Dick Stanfield. Stanfield named as the interim coach after the firing of Dick Nolan following that Monday night debacle to the Los Angeles Rams. And the front office of the Saints feeling it was time for a change, that they could just go no further. Stanfield, of course, would have to be one of the candidates for the Saints head coaching job. And of course, if he can show signs of turning things around, would have to be a primary candidate. And I think he did quite an impressive job a week ago. It would have been very easy for the Saints to fall apart after they fell behind Minnesota 23-0. But he had a very quiet talk in the locker room at halftime, got his team fired up, and they almost pulled that game out. 35 ticks on the clock as Manning fakes the draw play to Jack Holmes, goes to the sideline right, in and out of the arms of Tony Galbraith, who has 3 catches, 24 yards on the afternoon. Bobby Leopold in there defending.
A point that you brought up a little while ago, Jim, is very important, talking about Coach Stanfield, because when he was an assistant under Dick Nolan at New Orleans, he was an assistant and he was the offensive line coach. And I think that's the group that he really went to first and told them that if this ball club was to win any games this year and turn things around in a positive direction, that the offensive line would be the ones that would have to be the leaders. And judging by the contest so far this afternoon, that's what's happening.
Second down and 10. Manning looks to the right side, in and out of the arms of Jack Holmes. But Manning was in the grasp of number 57 for the San Francisco 49ers, Danny Bunz. Boy, you look for a guy who has not given up all afternoon for San Francisco, and he would certainly epitomize that, the third-year man from California State at Long Beach.
There are a few ball players who are on losing teams, and it doesn't make any difference whether it is the first game of the season or the last, and you're completely out of the playoff picture. There are some players like Bunz who will give it their best every time they go out on the field, just like there are some players on every team that go out and all they want to do is just pick up a paycheck.
Third down and 10. The last time they needed third and 10, they went to Tony Galbraith looping out of the backfield. Chandler wide left, Harris wide right. Manning looks to bootleg it. Now comes back against the grain for Ike Harris. Touchdown! And you've got to wonder how that ball ever got through the arms of Charles Cornelius, number 28, for the San Francisco 49ers. It looks like he had it defended perfectly.
That's hard to believe. That is really hard to believe. But as you mentioned, looking at Archie now, this is the best thing that he does. Roam around back there and allow people to get open. His receivers see that he's in trouble, that he's getting open. They go to him. Now watch the ball come down. Cornelius was just out of position. He was ahead of the ball. Archie did an excellent job of throwing the ball behind Cornelius, number 28, right into the arms of Ike Harris.
Out of the hold of Bobby Scott, Benny Ricardo will try to make it 35-7. He does. With 19 seconds left to go on the clock, the winless New Orleans Saints are sticking it to San Francisco 35-7. Archie Manning has had an all-pro kind of an afternoon so far. 3 scoring touchdown passes, and none of them of the short ones over the line of scrimmage. They've all been for 21, 33, and 37 yards.
And as we mentioned earlier, the defensive secondary for the 49ers has not played well at all throughout the course of the year. And Archie, being a pretty good passer himself, knew that he could have a pretty good day this afternoon if he got some decent blocking from his offensive line, which he has gotten.
Well, Manning came in with 402 attempts at passing, 241 completions for a 60% completion ratio. He had thrown for 18 touchdowns, been intercepted 19 times, but he has thrown for 3 touchdowns so far this afternoon, and he hasn't been intercepted at all. Archie Manning is 14 of 22 this afternoon, 248 yards, and as we mentioned, those 3 scoring strikes, just rifling apart the weak 49ers secondary. And much as we talk about Manning and his passing, his receivers have been doing a good job running the routes, the good patterns, the good concentration, because especially on that last pass, Mike Harris, with the corner man, Charles Cornelius, waving his arms in front of him, it would have been very easy to lose your concentration and be a little bit disinterested, but that wasn't the case. Linville Elliott. Well, now Benny Ricardo kicks it off very short, and San Francisco's got good field position with 14 seconds left to go. He started to give you the deep backs, but it never got that far. Ricky Patton, number 42, the man who got the ball, and you don't know if that was deliberate on Ricardo's part or if he fell again for the second time.
Well, I think as hard as he hit the ball, I don't think he wanted to get it back to someone like a James Owens, because Owens has terrific speed, and let him break it all the way. He hit it pretty hard. I think that was intentional.
14 seconds left to go. The line of scrimmage, the 47-yard line of San Francisco. Montana obviously will go up top. They flood to the left side. They'll send everybody down and either hope for a bomb or a penalty on the play. Underneath, the open man, Freddie Solomon. Down he goes. San Francisco quickly tries to call timeout, and they do with just 6 seconds left to go. Joe Fetterspiel in there on the tackle for the New Orleans Saints.
I don't think anyone expected this to happen, not at least in the first half. This has really been unbelievable and a very unique experience for the New Orleans Saints, because for the first time this year, they have a very comfortable lead.
Well, the Saints have been able to score some points. The first game of the year was against these same San Francisco 49ers, 26-23 in favor of the 49ers. And New Orleans scored 26 points against Buffalo. Bills are a pretty good defensive team. Saints put 13 points on the board against the Lions, 14 against the Falcons, and Atlanta is certainly no slouch defensively either. In that game, that was a game that I did. The Saints had a 14-0 lead very early, and then the Falcons came back. In this game, though, New Orleans jumped out on top, and they look like they're there to stay. Again, they flood the left side. Montana has 6 seconds now, so this, unless there's a penalty, will probably be the last play of the first half. He goes for all of it. Batted down. And that's a smart defensive play by number 48, Donnie Schwartz, because if you try to intercept right there, you might have the ball taken away. And the half ends on that note. The ball batted away by the New Orleans Saints, who are going off now with a huge 28-point lead. The New Orleans Saints looking for their first win on top over the San Francisco 49ers by a score of 35-7. We'll have all the scores around the NFL today when we come right back.
In many of the world's emerging nations, telecommunications isn't as much of a problem as it used to be. Thanks to, for one thing, microwave relay systems, which greatly facilitated telephone calls within the country. And even more important, something called earth stations, which made it possible to call out of the country via satellite.
G.
No, GTE.
Missile exercise, Atlantic Range.
10025 Call your target, over.
The Navy. Over 75% of our jobs give you technical training. Get one.
Target's turning starboard outbound, over. Fire. Birds away.
Navy. It's not just a job, it's an adventure.
Here's another Radio Shack Christmas gift idea. Our exclusive Science Fair 150-in-1 electronic project kit, just $29.95. Learn electronics by building safe, solderless battery and solar radios, transmitters, computer circuits, electronic sound effects, even LED digital readouts. Give 150 gifts they'll enjoy long after Christmas. The Super Science Fair Kit, only at Radio Shack, your Christmas electronics store.
Tonight at Archie Bunker's place, Murray's ex shows up. And on one day at a time...
We've been robbed.
But the cop is chasing more than robbers. Then on Alice, a trip to the hospital has Mel acting stranger than ever. And on the Jeffersons, Florence tries to get a loan from George.
Dribble, dribble.
Then Trapper and Gonzo help a patient hooked on medication. It all starts at 8, 7 Central and Mountain.
Looking good.
Together, tonight.
Right after 60 Minutes.
Back live at Candlestick Park here in San Francisco. You see the score. The 49ers in the locker room right now probably can't believe it. And for that matter, perhaps the New Orleans Saints can't as well. Hello again, everybody. I'm Jim Kelly. Jim Hill, our friend, is alongside. Kind of a surprise, I think, for both teams, Jimmy.
I think an absolute shock, especially for the 49ers. I know they didn't expect this to happen at all, but I think one of the things that happened to them is they came to the ballpark in the wrong frame of mind. They took New Orleans for granted, and then the Saints just came out and just moved them completely around the field. Good job of blocking by the Saints offensive line, and that's why the score is 35-7.
Archie Manning, 14 out of 22, 248 yards, 3 touchdown tosses on the afternoon. New Orleans started out very quickly. San Francisco gave the Saints pretty good field position, and Archie Manning made the most of it. Let's take a look at other scores around the NFL today, and then we'll come back and show you our first half highlights. You take a look at that game in Philadelphia. Tim Mazzetti, a 37-yard field goal with just 7 seconds left to go in regulation, gave the Falcons that big win over Philadelphia. The Falcons now a 2-game lead over the Los Angeles Rams in the NFC West. Meanwhile, the Eagles could fall into a tie if Dallas wins today. Here's that Rams score.
What a big game this was in overtime. Buffalo beat the Los Angeles Rams 10-7 on a field goal, a 30-yard field goal by Nick Mickemeyer.
Now at Tampa Bay, where the Bucs were all but out of the playoff picture, Minnesota certainly still very much alive, and what a credit to Bud Grant, the job he's done. You see at halftime, Tampa Bay was up by a score of 10-0, and after that it was all the Vikings from the frozen tundra up north. They came back with 21 unanswered points and blew away the Bucs 21-10.
And Baltimore and Cincinnati. Here's talk about a high-scoring contest. Cincinnati had jumped off to a big 24-0 lead, but then they just barely hung on to win that ball game 34-33.
And in Cleveland, where Sam Rutigliano's done an outstanding job with the Browns, they got all they could handle and a lot more from the New York Jets. Walt Michaels, you could see they were the 3-0 at halftime, and then everybody got 14 points in the third quarter, and they played it even zip to zip in the fourth. Cleveland hangs on to that big lead over the Houston Oilers in the AFC Black and Blue Central Division.
And here's a ball game that's a complete surprise to a lot of people. Washington Redskins been having their troubles all year long. The San Diego Chargers at one time leading the AFC's Western Division. The Chargers going to RFK Stadium in Washington, D.C., and you see the result right there. Washington 40, San Diego 17.
What that means, of course, now is if Oakland should win their game against Dallas, they would have a 1-game lead over San Diego in that AFC West. Here's the Cardinals, and Detroit fallen on hard times again. Thanksgiving Day, that Turkey Day game you might recall against the Chicago Bears, the shortest overtime ever in the history of the NFL when they ran back the opening kickoff for a touchdown to beat the Lions. Today, 3:40 left to go in the game, a 57-yard punt return by Roy Green. The Cardinals by 1 against Detroit.
I don't think I'd want to be the special teams coach for the Detroit Lions at all right now.
You wouldn't want to be the coach in any way, shape, or form at Green Bay.
Right. Look at this one. Chicago defeats Green Bay 61-7. 3 touchdowns by Walter Payton. He carried the ball 22 times for 130 yards.
And the game that's going on across the bay here in San Francisco, actually it's over in Oakland right now. We're in San Francisco. Dallas 16-10. They are at halftime right now. Oakland jumped out on top by a score of 7-0, but since that time it's been all Dallas. They've got a 6-point lead right now. And there's a bit of a surprise, I think, out in Seattle, where Jim Zorn and the Seahawks are having some problems. Phil Simms, by the way, did not start at quarterback for the New York Giants. Scott Bruner, the rookie from Delaware, started up for the Giants.
And the score now 13-7 in favor of the Saints. And now we see Kansas City is leading Denver 28-0, scoring 4 touchdowns in the second period.
So there you've got it, all of the action around the NFL today. We're at halftime here at Candlestick Park in San Francisco. The Saints 0-13, looking for their first win. They've got a whopping 28-point lead. They're up on top over the San Francisco 49ers by a score of 35-7 at halftime. Stay tuned as the NFL Day continues on CBS after these messages. And a word from your local station.
Monday, it's a...
Right big knockdown drag-out party.
Flo gives a friend a final send-off, but will Farley make her wing-ding a downer? Find out Monday night.
This is CBS.